Your life right now is the exact temperature you've been emotionally set to. Every quiet moment, every default mood, every place your mind drifts when you stop directing it, that's the reading on your internal dial. And whatever circumstance you reach for, your inner system will quietly pull it back to match. By the end of this, you'll know where your dial is set and how to start turning it. There's a quiet machinery behind every life. You felt it. The raise that somehow vanished into new expenses within a year. The relationship that started electric and ended exactly like the last one. The diet that worked beautifully until your old self walked back into the kitchen. The therapy breakthrough that lasted 9 days. None of that is random. Your habitual emotional state behaves like a thermostat, and the room it's regulating is your entire existence. A thermostat answers to one number, the set point. Everything else is weather. Crank the heater up to 90, and the moment you stop forcing it, the system cools. Throw open the windows in winter, and the furnace fires until equilibrium returns. Your dominant mood works the same way. Whatever you feel most of the time becomes the gravity well that bends every event back toward itself. Lottery winners returning to broke, promotions followed by quiet sabotage. New cities, same loneliness, the address changes. The temperature holds. Most teaching stops short of this. Everyone agrees you should feel good. Almost nobody explains what feel good actually means at the level of mechanism. Because what hums beneath the smile is the actual signal. Your baseline is the feeling tone you wear when you're alone with yourself in traffic. The texture of your inner monologue while brushing your teeth. The thing your face does when nobody's in the room. The quiet pulse underneath your attention when you have nothing to perform. That, more than your goals, more than your vision board, more than your morning routine, is what your life conforms to. The mystics across centuries kept circling the same insight. The Hermetic texts spoke of correspondence, as within, so without. The Hindu sages spoke of vasanas, the latent tendencies that color every new experience the moment it arrives. Neville Goddard insisted that consciousness is the only reality, and the feeling you live in is the consciousness you express. The vocabulary keeps shifting across traditions. The observation keeps holding. You meet the world wearing the temperature of your inner state, and the world rearranges itself in response. Tested against your own history, think of the last time something genuinely good arrived. A windfall, a new connection, an opportunity that felt like answered prayer. Track what happened in the weeks after. If your baseline was anxiety, anxiety found new fuel. Now there was something precious to protect. When resentment was the keynote, somebody new gave you a reason. Where unworthiness ran the system, you found ways to sabotage what arrived. The event changed. The temperature stayed exactly where it was. Notice what happens to people who suddenly come into large money. A significant share drift back to their previous financial state within a few years, regardless of the size of the windfall. The bank account temporarily exceeded the baseline. The baseline corrected for the discrepancy. Same with weight regain after extreme dieting. Same with the high of new love giving way to the same patterns at month 9. The mechanism is invisible until you start watching for it. Once you do, you'll see it everywhere, in yourself, in everyone around you. Watch yourself in those moments. The check arrives, the call comes, the door opens, and within hours your mind has found something to be worried about, irritated by, suspicious of. That's the thermostat firing. Comfort detected. Cooling system engaged. The system is working exactly as designed, which is the harder thing to accept. So the obvious question forms, if your inner climate decides everything, why haven't you simply changed it? Because the thermostat protects itself. The mind treats your baseline as home, even when home is on fire. Familiarity registers as safety to the body, regardless of how much pain that familiarity contains. A person raised in chaos will feel oddly bored in peace. A person who learned that love comes with conditions will feel suspicious when love arrives without them. A person whose self-image is built around struggle will accidentally engineer struggle into any circumstance that lacks it. The baseline serves its own continuity. Your happiness is a downstream concern. This is why positive thinking collapses within a week. You can paint over a wall 1,000 times, but if the foundation is wet, the paint will keep bubbling. Affirmations delivered from an anxious body just teach the anxious body to anxiously affirm. The words go in, the set point shrugs, the system returns to its keynote within hours, and you wonder what's wrong with you. And the spiritual community has a clever defense for when this fails. You didn't believe hard enough, but belief at the surface and belief at the baseline are different organisms. One is a sentence you say. The other is a sensation you live inside. Most people are mistaking the first for the second and wondering why the world refuses to rearrange itself. So how do you actually change the set point? You teach your system that a new frequency is the familiar one. You sit inside the feeling of the wish fulfilled long enough that your body stops flinching at it. You move from visiting that state to residing in it. The new tone has to become boring before it becomes permanent. Strange as it sounds, the moment a new emotional climate stops feeling exciting is the moment it has actually taken hold. This is what Neville meant by living in the end. Inhabiting the inner climate of the person who already has it, in line at the coffee shop, in traffic, in the moments your mind defaults to its worst rehearsals. That's where the set point actually moves. In the unwatched hours, the dramatic visualization session matters less than what your mood does at 4 in the afternoon when you check your bank balance. And yes, the obvious objection from inside the framework. If feeling state is everything, why do hard things happen to people with beautiful inner lives? The framework claims something specific. The climate inside you decides which weather becomes your home. A storm passes through a sturdy house and the foundation holds. The same storm hits a damaged structure and the damage compounds. The events arrive. Your baseline decides what they become: fuel or wreckage, lesson or scar. This is the part most teachers avoid. Inner work functions as a foundation. People with healed inner climates still grieve, still fail, still get blindsided by life. The difference is that what could have become a permanent residency in suffering instead passes through as a season. The thermostat reasserts itself faster. The storm leaves. The climate stays. You already know your set point. You felt it this morning before your eyes fully opened. That first wave of feeling, before the day even had content to react to, that was the reading. If it was dread, the day found evidence. If certainty was already there, the day arranged itself around it. Pay attention tomorrow morning. The first 3 seconds of consciousness tell you more about your life than any journal entry ever will. And the part that stings is this: nobody installed that set point without your participation. You inherited the initial settings, yes, but you ratified them every time you reflexively chose the old reaction over the new one. Every rumination, every rehearsal of the old grievance, every replay of the conversation that already ended, those were votes. The dial sits at its current temperature because somewhere along the way, you stopped contesting it. Which means you can start contesting it tonight. Every time you catch the old feeling tone rising, you have a choice point. You can ride it like always, or you can pause, name the temperature, and gently reach for the keynote of the version of you who already has what you want. That pause is the entire game. That's where the dial moves 1/10 of a degree. Do it 500 times, and the room is a different climate altogether. The discipline is unglamorous. It looks like catching yourself mid-spiral and choosing, on purpose, to sit inside the feeling of already being safe, already being loved, already being where you wanted to arrive, as rehearsal. The way an actor inhabits a role until the role inhabits them back. And expect the resistance. The first weeks of contesting the dial feel like wearing someone else's clothes. Your old self will swear the new feeling is fake, performative, ridiculous. That's the system defending its set point. Push gently anyway. Every tradition that takes this seriously describes the same threshold, the point where the new state stops requiring effort and starts arising on its own. That threshold is closer than it feels in week 1. Treat your inner temperature like the most valuable asset you own, because it is. The job, the relationship, the body, the bank account, these are downstream variables. The dial is upstream of all of them. Move the dial and the room follows. Leave the dial untouched, and every external change becomes a tourist that eventually goes home. Tonight, before you sleep, find the feeling tone of the version of you who already lives the life you want. Forget the events. Find the tone, the way that person breathes in the silence, how their shoulders sit, the texture of their attention when nothing urgent is happening. Stay there for 10 minutes, then 10 more tomorrow. Do it until your body stops treating it as a foreign country. That's the work. The only work. Your life is waiting for a new set point. The dial has always been behind the wall of your own attention. Reach in, turn it, and let the room finally catch up to who you've quietly decided to become.